What up, biatches? I'm Polka Dot Pigeon. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be filming probably my most requested video of all time. Ever since I started my YouTube channel, I've been getting countless DMs, YouTube comments, Instagram comments, TikTok comments, Instagram story replies asking me to do this video, and I just haven't gotten around to doing it because honestly I felt like it was gonna be a lot of work and it was gonna take a lot of time. And I will not lie, it did take me a decent amount of time to do research for this video, but the main reason I just haven't gotten around to doing it is because I'm lazy and unmotivated. But today I have the motivation and I'm not feeling as lazy. So the video in question is gonna be my hair evolution. So every single haircut and hair color I've ever had in my whole entire life. A lot of you guys have shown quite an interest in it, so I'm gonna be letting you guys in to the whole story that is my hair today. And like I was mentioning earlier, the research for this video did take me quite a long time, around 2 to 3 hours. I had to chronologically list every single haircut and hair color I've ever had over the years, you know? And I put them all into my notes app. So there's the beginning of the list. And I'm scrolling about 10 times to get to the bottom of the list. I was up from 11 to 2:30, I believe, in the morning doing this. But that's okay. Anything for you guys. You ask and you shall receive. So this video is probably gonna be a long one. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and I hope you guys enjoy the hair evolution of Polka Dot Pigeon. So before I get into all my hair changes and all that, I'm gonna give you guys some background information on my hair. I don't think YouTube has ever seen my natural hair color. You might have seen my roots here and there, but basically my natural hair color is what I believe is called dirty blonde. It's kind of like golden looking in the sun, but it's basically just like a light brown, dark blonde color. And my hair texture is pretty straight. I have some waves here and there, but it's basically straight. And yeah, that's my hair. Okay, moving on to the actual hair evolution. Okay, so the beginning is kind of really boring, to be honest, so I'm gonna kind of get it out of the way really fast. So from 0 to 9 years old, I did absolutely nothing to my hair. I literally just like let it grow from birth to 9 years old. I mean, I'm sure my mom took me to get my hair like trimmed, you know, split ends and stuff, but I basically had just long, dirty blonde hair. I'll insert pictures, obviously. And like I said, I just let it grow from birth to 9 years old. So it was probably like mid rib cage, I think. It was pretty long. And I don't really remember much from my childhood, if I'm being honest. So from 0 to 9, I don't recollect ever like wanting to change my hair or dye it or anything like that. I think I was just a kid and I literally could care less about my hair. I do remember when I hit 3rd grade, I believe. So when I was 9 or 10 years old, I started wanting to like look different from my twin sister, because up until that point we basically had the same exact haircut and we wore like the same outfits, and if they weren't the same outfits, they were like the same items of clothing in different colors, you know? And I started to want to look different than her. I was like, I want to be my own person, you know? And an easy way to do that was to get my hair cut. And I don't know if it was my mom's idea or my idea. I'm thinking it was probably mine, because looking back on it, I remember my mom being sad that I cut my hair because she really, really liked my long blonde hair. But 9 or 10 years old, I get my first haircut. And I went crazy drastic with this first haircut. I got like a chin length bob. And the reason I got the chin length bob is because I found out I could donate my hair, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And in order to donate your hair, you had to cut off at least 10 inches. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna cut off 10 inches of my hair. So I cut off 10 inches of my hair, got this really ugly chin length bowl cut bob, and I loved it at the time because I looked different than my sister for once in my life. But looking back on it, oh my god. Probably the worst haircut I've ever had in my whole entire life. I remember sitting in like the little barbershop chair and the lady just put my hair in a ponytail and then cut either above or below the ponytail. Took it off, you know, held my hair in her hand, and she's like, you're gonna donate your hair. And then I don't think she did anything to like shape the hair or anything. I remember her just cutting it off and I was done in like 5 minutes. She might have added like a little side bang, but that was the first haircut I ever got. I kind of totally skimmed over the fact that I donated my hair, but I donated it to this company called Locks of Love. So it's like this organization that makes wigs out of real human hair for like cancer patients or people who have alopecia, or basically like anybody, you know, who's lost their hair, I think due to like a medical reason or just some reason, I don't know. And I heard about that and I thought it was cool, so I donated my hair. It was pretty cool, and if my hair ever grew that long again and I wanted to cut it off, I would definitely donate it again. And then after I got my little chin length bob, I kind of just let my hair grow out for like 5 years. I didn't do anything to it. I was actually like really against even getting trims because I was kind of like traumatized about having such short hair. Like in the moment when I had it, I thought it looked good, but then whenever I would like look back at pictures, I was like, I never want that again. That was so ugly. So I like remember never wanting to get my hair cut, so I let it grow out really long. Once again, it was like to my mid rib cage, super scraggly, really ugly, disgusting split ends. Like it was very unhealthy. So I finally got a haircut at 14 or 15 years old, and at that point I just cut off like 4 or 5 inches just to like get all the split ends off. So it was like up to here, like this weird like lob, I guess. And up until this point I don't have any memories of me ever wanting to dye my hair. I think I just liked my natural hair color and I planned on keeping it that way for a while. Once I got that weird like mid-length haircut, I kind of just maintained that length for like 2 or 3 years. I got like trims here and there, and then at 17 I decided to give myself extremely thick, blunt bangs. Really ugly bangs, and if I'm remembering right, I'm pretty sure my sister cut them for me because I just wanted to do it one night. I was like, let's do it. And I don't even know how I got this past my mom, because my parents were like pretty strict. They weren't like crazy strict, but I feel like if I told her I want to get myself bangs, she would have told me no. So I don't really know how that came about, but I just remember like watching a video on YouTube and making my sister watch it, and then I was too sissy to like cut my hair myself. So then she cut them, and they were really bad. I thought they looked amazing, but from the pictures I've seen, they were horrible. Super blunt, thick bangs, like straight out of the 80s, and I thought they were giving wispy, like boho bangs. No, they were ugly. They were extremely ugly. I think around 17 is when I started to like get the urge to dye my hair, but I wasn't allowed to. My parents told me I had to either turn 18 or move out in order to dye my hair. So I was left with my dirty blonde hair until I turned 18. And I want to say a few short months after I turned 18, I dyed my hair jet black. I don't know why that was the color I first wanted to go with. If I knew what I know now, I would not have dyed my hair black as my first hair color, because black is infamously known to be literally impossible to get out of your hair. If you watch me, you know I'm pretty good at getting out of my hair, but I damage my hair an insane amount every single time I do it. I think the only way I'm able to do it so often is because I shave my head like every 2 months, you know? I decided at 18 I wanted to go full-on black hair, so I did that. And I also used like the worst black hair dye ever. So in the sun, it had like the most hideous reddish brown undertones, and it photographed horrendously, in my opinion. I think it looked really bad. But at the time, I thought I was slaying. And then again, I cut my hair into the weird lob. I don't know why I liked that ugly medium length haircut so much, but I kept doing it. So that was at like 18, 19. I ended up moving out like 2 days before I turned 19, and around that same time I ended up cutting my hair even shorter. So instead of the lob, I just got like a straight up bob. Still had my bangs, but I did a little bit shorter bangs this time. And that was all by the time I was like 19 or 20. Sorry if the timeline's like kind of mixed up. I have like no pictures of things past like 2021. I have like literally no pictures. I had to look on like a ton of people's Facebook accounts to find these pictures. So yeah. Then I decided to let my hair grow out for 1.5 years or so. And I don't know how my hair got so long in this timeline, but it did. In like 1.5 years, my hair grew from here to like here. I don't know if that's correct in my timeline, but judging by pictures, that's how long it grew. And that doesn't make any sense in my mind, but apparently my hair grows that fast. I don't know. So I let it grow out pretty long. And at this time I started to use a different black box dye, so my hair actually looked truly black. I started using Revlon's black box dye. I'll put a picture of it. Oh my God. Sorry. So that was my tried and true. I still love that hair dye to this day. Okay, so 2021 is when I start having like the exact months that I started doing each like change to my hair. And in 2021, I also met my boyfriend, Ricky. Well, technically I met him online in December of 2020, but I met him in person in January of 2021. And then in February of 2021, we started dating. And all throughout our 6/7 months of dating, I didn't do anything to my hair. I just let it be black once again, and I just let it grow out. I didn't get it trimmed. I did nothing to it, so it grew pretty long. And then in July of 2021, me and Ricky actually broke up. And that took a crazy toll on my brain. It was like my first true love, you know, my first heartbreak, whatever. So I literally lost my mind, and I'm not even exaggerating. I actually like went insane. It threw me into like a crazy depression. I already have depression in the first place, but this made it about 1,200 times worse. And I just spiraled. And, you know, I feel like it's a pretty common thing to like change up your hair after a breakup. I know it seems stereotypical, but like low-key it happens a lot, and it happened in my case. So like I said, we broke up in July of 2021, and then in September of 2021, so 2 months later, I cut off like 7 inches of my hair. So I got a bob once again. I don't know what it is with me and bobs. I would never get one now unless it was like right here, a super chic bob, but I got a bob. And 2021 was a very revolutionary time in my life, and this is when the insane hair changes and all of the interesting things start to happen. So from this point on, there is gonna be about 500 changes, so buckle up. It's gonna be really hard to tell them all to you guys because, oh my god, there was a lot. So I'm gonna repeat myself one more time. September of 2021, I cut like anywhere from 7 to 10 inches of my hair off, and I had just a black blob. Black bob, not blob. And then a few short months later, in December of 2021, I decided I wanted to go even shorter. And my main reason for this haircut, as stupid as it sounds, was in an attempt to get Ricky back because his celebrity crush is Winona Ryder. I don't look anything like Winona Ryder, but I thought if I got her haircut, it would make him like me again. So I went shorter and I got the classic 90s Winona Ryder pixie cut. And it was cute. I liked it. It was pretty cute. It didn't win Ricky back though. He stayed my friend. He never like kicked me out of his life. Obviously I'm dating him now, but it didn't win him back like I thought it would. So I was rocking the pixie cut for a few months, and then in March of 2022 I decided I wanted to shave the sides to kind of give like a mullet vibe, I guess. So I went to a hairdresser and I got the sides shaved with what I believe was an 8 guard. It might have been longer. She has like one of those professional clipper things. I don't know. The longest guard I have is 8, but it didn't look like an 8 to me. She like would not shave it as short as I wanted to because she's like, you've never done something like this before. Like, what if you don't like it? And in my heartbroken state, I was like, I literally don't care if I like it or not. This is what I want. But she wouldn't do it. Which respect, you know? Whatever. She just had my best interests in mind, I'm assuming. So I got my sides shaved, and in the pictures I'm showing you guys, it probably doesn't even look like they're shaved, but once again I had black hair, and it's kind of hard to tell length differences when you have black hair. At least to me it is. And around this time I was also getting into like the goth subculture, so I started dressing pretty like trad goth, I want to say, or trad goth influenced, you know, and I was reflecting that in my makeup and in my haircut as well, so I did that. And then in May of 2022, I finally got my sides shaved to a length I wanted them at, and I believe she shaved them with a 4 or a 6, but my hair was still black, so it didn't show as much as I wanted it to. And I don't know if I wanted just like a full-on mohawk or something, because she was giving me like what I wanted based on my pictures, but I would go home and I would look and I was like, this isn't what I want. And I'm like, bruh, did you want just a mohawk? Because she's giving you exactly what you want. Shave side mullet vibe. She also ended up cutting my bangs really short at this time, the shortest I had ever had them. Now that I'm looking at them, they're not that short, but I felt bald. I was like, oh my god, these bangs are so short. Like, they were longer than what my bangs are now, and I was literally having a crisis over my bangs. And I remember at the time I still wasn't dating Ricky, but I sent him a picture and I was like, oh my god, my bangs are so short, like they're so ugly. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, they look fine. I was tripping. And this so happened to be the last time I ever got my hair professionally cut. Never again have I ever been to a hairdresser since. And I'm nothing against her. I loved her. She is a really good hairdresser, and honestly, if I needed my hair cut again, I would go to her. I don't know if she's watching this, but if she is, hi to you. You're very good at what you do. This haircut that I got only lasted 10 days though, despite it being cute. Like I said, I don't think I liked it at the time, but I like it now. But yeah, it only lasted 10 days. And on May 20th of 2022, I shaved my head for the first time. I used an 8 guard, I think, and it looked crazy. I didn't style it. I just shaved my head and then went out with it looking insane. So I have pictures of it looking like so uneven, but it's not. It's just because I didn't like even try to like brush it down. Because when you have like a buzz cut and it's like an inch long, you have to do some styling to it to make it look decent, in my opinion at least. But I shaved my head and I felt super good about it. And I honestly think everybody should shave their head at least once in their life, because ever since I shaved my head, every single hair color and change I've ever done has been so much less nerve-wracking, because I'm just like, well, if it goes wrong, I can just shave my head. I don't think I look ugly with a shaved head. It's not my favorite thing, but it's not gonna make me like have a breakdown. It kind of like made me more confident in myself, I guess. And it sounds like cliche to say I was hiding behind my hair, but for a while I was, especially with trying to like win Ricky back with my haircut, like hello. So shaving my head was like really freeing. And when I shaved my head, I don't even think I had Ricky in my mind at all. So I was kind of like just thinking about me. I don't know. It sounds like so dramatic because it's like literally hair, but I don't know, man. Hair has like quite an impact on things, you know? And if you haven't been able to tell by the pictures, my hair was also still black up until this point. I kept this little black buzz cut for a whole 12 days. And then I decided on June 2nd of 2022 to attempt to bleach my hair. I don't know what color I was going for. Like, I don't remember if I was trying to go platinum blonde or if I was trying to bleach it to go like pink or something. But I tried bleaching it and I completely failed. I failed horrifically. I remember using Color Oops to try to remove the 50 layers of black box dye I had in my hair, and it barely did anything. I mean, my hair wasn't black, but it turned it like a really ugly red-brown shade. And I don't even think I used bleach to try to bleach my hair. I'm pretty sure I used a blonde dye that I thought was bleach. I don't know. Even if I got box bleach, it would have done more than what it did. So yeah, that happened. And luckily I had a backup plan, and that backup plan was to dye my hair like a copperish rusty orange color. So I had bought that box dye, and thankfully I did, because I ended up using it that night. So I had like rusty copper orange hair, and it didn't look bad. I liked it. It reminded me like of the 90s. It was like super 90s vibes, and it looked really nice with like vampy makeup. It was a look. I liked it a lot. And right after that, I ended up going on a trip to the coast with Ricky, still broken up at the time. I was just torturing myself. Whatever. Everything happens for a reason. So I went on a trip with him. I had this copper hair, and I also got my septum pierced on this trip. Funny story about my septum piercing. I know I'm getting sidetracked. It's okay. This is my YouTube channel. It's a very insightful story, so I'm telling it. So, like I said, I got my septum pierced in 2022 on this trip to the coast. But originally, I had got my septum pierced, I think the year before, around when me and Ricky initially broke up. And I got it pierced so incredibly wrong, and with completely wrong jewelry. I went into this piercing studio with my mom, and I was like, I would like to get my septum pierced. And the guy was like, sure, but you're not getting pierced with a horseshoe. You're getting a captive bead ring, which is a ring with a bead. It's a complete circle, allows no room for swelling. The one he gave me at least didn't. It was like an 8mm diameter ring, which is like the size of my nostril ring. I think maybe a millimeter smaller. Way too small to get your septum pierced with, and the wrong jewelry to get your septum pierced with. But he refused to give me a horseshoe. He told me I was gonna flip it up and hide it from my workplace, and I was like, I'm literally not. My workplace allows septum piercings. Can I please get pierced with a horseshoe? And he was like, no, I'm not piercing you if you're gonna demand that jewelry. Which I wasn't demanding anything, I was asking. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll just wait the month or whatever until I can get it changed. So I lay down and he pierces it, and it hurts quite a bit, but not too much, but it hurts. He puts the jewelry in, and it's so snug up underneath here, you can barely see the ring. You can just see the ball like poking into my upper nose thing. And I pay, and I'm in like a decent amount of pain, but I'm like, I just got it pierced, so obviously it's gonna hurt. Oh my god. The next week, I like could not function. It hurt so bad. I couldn't smile. I couldn't drink out of soda cans. I couldn't move my upper lip. I had to take like 15 ibuprofen a day. And I went and tried to get it removed from this dude like 3 separate times, and every single time he was never there. I even called beforehand and they're like, oh yeah, you can come in. He's gonna be here in like 10 minutes. Come in, wait 10 minutes, wait 20 minutes. Dude never showed up. So I had to go to a completely different piercing studio to get it removed. And the lady was like, oh my god, he didn't even pierce your septum. He pierced like through your cartilage. So he pierced through the hard part in my nose towards like the back. So like instead of up here where it's supposed to be pierced, he pierced like in the back, like through the hard part of my cartilage. And it was so swollen that the captive bead ring was embedding itself into my skin. And it was giving me migraines. It was making my eyes water. And like I said, I couldn't move my mouth. I couldn't smile. My teeth were numb. So thankfully she removed it, and it took her a decent amount of time, and she like was profusely apologizing, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Like, you don't have to pay for my removal. You can come back in like a month or 2 and I'll re-pierce you, right? And I never went back. I was kind of like really scared and traumatized, but on that trip on the coast I felt spontaneous and I got it pierced correctly. Thank God those people knew what they were doing, because my piercing experience the second time was a breeze. It literally felt like I got pinched for like a half a second. And then they pierced me with a horseshoe, they put it in the right spot, and I never had any issues with it. And it was perfect. And that's my septum piercing story. Anyways, moving on to the hair. So I had like the copper buzz cut for like a month or something like that, and I ended up dyeing it like a darker reddish copperish color in July of 2022. And during this time, Ricky also happened to move in with me. Still not together, but he moved in with me for whatever reason. And then after I dyed it that darkish reddish color, I just let my hair dye fade basically, and I still was growing out the buzz cut. And then on August 10th, I dyed over the red with, I think what was turquoise, but since I was dyeing over like reddish orange, it turned like green and like 40 different shades of blue. I'll show you pictures. This is the ugliest hair color I have ever had. I hated it so much so that 5 days later, I shaved all of it off. I shaved my head again, and I shaved it even shorter, I believe with a 6 guard this time. And obviously shaving my head wasn't gonna get rid of all the color. So now I had a 15 different color buzz cut, but it was better than whatever the heck I started with. And I kept that little turquoise buzz cut for I think around 8 days, and I got tired of it. So then I believe I bleached my hair, and then I dyed it like this powder blue periwinkle color. It was cute at the time, but I don't know, it was just like a weird color. It kind of looked gray in certain lighting, and then it looked like super baby blue in other lighting, and then it looked lavender in certain lighting. It was just an odd color, but all that mattered was that I liked it when I had it. It did fade really, really fast though, probably in like a week. And I don't really think I knew how to like upkeep colored hair at this time, because I remember like I was washing my hair like every other day, if not every day. So obviously my hair dye is gonna fade super fast. Now I wash my hair like once every 8 days, and I'm able to keep my hair pretty vibrant for like 2 or 3 months straight, because I'm just nasty and I don't wash my hair. That's the price you pay to have vibrant, colorful hair. So yeah, like I said, it faded in like a week. So September 1st of 2022, I dyed my hair neon green. Very, very neon green. I think I used Manic Panic's Electric Lizard for this, which I recommend that hair dye. It is so vibrant and so neon. I guess I didn't like the neon green that much, because 12 days later, I ended up dyeing my hair back to black. And I'm still growing out the buzz cut, by the way. Literally, I'm so surprised how little time passed between each of these changes. I told you guys, I was going crazy after this breakup, and I think that's what like spurred all of this, to be honest. Not saying that like if we stayed together I would have never dyed my hair, but I really do think this breakup like was a catalyst to like me discovering myself and what I liked. I don't know. So yeah, there's like hair colors I had for like 5 days. Hair lengths I had for like 3 days. I was just having fun, man. Yeah, so just dyed my hair back to black, still letting it grow out. Then I left my hair alone for a whole month. Then on October 12th of 2022, I shaved my head again, and I went even shorter. I used a 4 guard, I believe. Still had black hair though. It wasn't black for much longer though, because on October 19th of 2022, I bleached my hair and my eyebrows. I really liked the bleached brow look that was going viral at the time, but I was too sissy to actually bleach them. So I was like putting 400 pounds of concealer on them when I wanted that look. So I finally just decided that if I was gonna bleach my hair, I might as well bleach my eyebrows. So basically I just had a platinum buzz cut and what looked like no eyebrows, but I had just very, very pale platinum eyebrows. And it was a look. It looked really, really chic, and it looked really nice with like dark makeup. It like made my blue eyes pop. I liked it a lot. But I didn't keep it for long because I kept getting compared to Eminem, and I hated that so much for whatever reason. I don't really know. It just made me really mad. I was like, I didn't do all this work to be compared to Eminem of all people, but whatever. So on November 6th, I dyed my hair neon orange. And I honestly think I should have kept the blonde hair, because looking at pictures right now, I'm like, the blonde looked so much better than the neon orange did. Like the neon orange didn't look bad, but the blonde was such a vibe. It was such like a statement, and I wish I kept it longer. Whatever. And then 6 days later, so November 12th, I shaved my head even shorter, this time with, I believe, a number 2. And I think the reason I was doing this was because people at my work kept telling me that I look like Sinead O'Connor and that I just reminded them of like the 90s, and they're like, you should go even shorter. You look so good with a shorter buzz cut. And honestly, I was like, I have nothing to lose. At this point, I kind of gave up on Ricky ever getting back together with me, so I wasn't trying to like impress him with my hair or like my looks anymore. So I just was like taking their advice, and I shaved my head shorter with a 2-guard. And I liked it. It looked cool, but I didn't like it with the orange. I thought it looked kind of weird. So 5 days later, I shaved it with a 1-guard because my roots had grown like a centimeter since bleaching them. So I shaved my head with a 1-guard. I was basically bald at this point, and it was just like my natural color, but my hair was so short that it just looked like my scalp, you know? I liked this. I am gonna do it again someday. I don't know when, but I really want to do it again because this is like one of my favorite haircuts I've ever done. I think the completely bald head looks so good. I don't know, there's just something about a bald head, especially like on a woman. It's like so empowering, and I felt like a badass walking around with no hair. I felt so cool, and like I said, I'm definitely gonna do this again. And then 7 days later, I decided to dye it orange again. This time, not neon orange. I think it was like a little bit of a darker shade of orange. And I don't know why I did that. I should have just kept it the natural brown that I had because it looked cool. It looked so cool. And I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know why I kept dyeing my hair orange, but I did. After shaving it initially with the 1-guard in like mid-November or whatever it was, I just like let it grow out and stuff. So I dyed it orange, and then December 3rd of 2022, I dyed it red. This looked so bad. I don't know what the heck sorry if I'm like bashing myself this whole video, but it's just like, you should have just kept it brown. It was just like I was dyeing my skin. But whatever, I dyed it red, and I was tired of the bleached brows, so I started doing like insane brick eyebrows, like 2016 eyebrows. I looked crazy. Like there's a way to do thick eyebrows, and that was not the way to do it. Oh my god. But towards the end of the month, I ended up just shaving them off. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I just went completely bald and committed to the no eyebrow look. And ever since, I've been shaving my eyebrows off. And so a month after dyeing my hair red, so January 3rd, I did my first multicolored look, and I did red and orange. And it just looked really splotchy, but it looked cool. It looked really faded in certain areas, but like really cool in others. I think I was trying to do like a spiral shape around my head. I don't really remember. And like I said, it looked like weird and faded in certain places. So 5 days later, I decided to go over the red spots with like this purple magenta color. It was more like leaning on the pink side. I did that with orange, and I really liked this. It looked really cool. I remember I got so many compliments on this hair, and I felt so accomplished, and it didn't really take much skill. All I really did was just like put hair dye in random spots on my head, and it was kind of like a polka dotted look, but like very large polka dots. And then January 26th of 2023, I decided to change my hair yet again. I wouldn't be telling you the date if I didn't change my hair. I tried doing frosted blue tips. I know now that that is extremely hard to achieve on hair as short as I had my hair. It was only like maybe half an inch or an inch long at this point. But yeah, I tried doing frosted blue tips, and I wasn't like thinking that when I bleached all of my hair and then put the blue hair dye on just the tips, that when I rinsed my hair out, it would just bleed onto all the blonde and I would basically just have completely blue hair. So instead of frosted blue tips, I ended up just having electric blue hair. This hair color was really, really cool though. I liked it, and I'm kind of glad the accident happened because I ended up with a really cool hair color. And this blue hair marked the beginning of when Ricky and I started finally dating again, and we've been dating ever since. Yeah, our like whole timeline is kind of confusing. We've broken up more than once, I think like 3 times. I only mentioned 1 time in this video, but you know, I just like to say we've been together since like 2021 with some rough patches in between, even though that's not the truth. We literally didn't date for like a whole year and a half, whatever. Anyways, I kept the blue for a while and I just like let it fade out. And then February 17th of 2023, I re-dyed my hair blue, but instead of using the original blue I used in the first place, I tried out this new blue. It was like navy, not flattering on me at least, didn't like it at all. And then 3 days after dyeing my hair this navy color, I decided my hair was too long and I hated how it looked, so I reshaved it with a 4-guard. And then 5 days after that, I re-dyed my hair with the original blue that I used in the first place. And at this time, I was super trad goth, I guess. I did like the trad goth makeup. I dressed very trad goth influenced. And then after this, I kind of chilled out for like 2 months. I didn't do anything to my hair. I let the blue fade almost completely out. Like it was pretty much like white by the time I ended up doing something else to it. And that was around April 18th of 2023. I did like a neon yellow green color, but since I didn't like bleach beforehand, it kind of just looked faded in the first place. Like right after I dyed it, it just looked like faded yellow. It didn't really translate very well that it was neon yellow / green. It was just like a weird color, but I liked it nonetheless. I loved it. I actually ended up moving in with Ricky like 2 days after this. So I moved in with him in his hometown, 2 hours away from my hometown. And I've been here ever since, but I'm moving back. I know I keep saying I'm moving back, but you guys, I'm moving back soon. I'm hype. Are you hype? Then on May 8th, I decided to dye my hair all black once again for the 15th time. And I was also experimenting a lot with hair extensions during the months of like May and June. I had like clip-in black hair extensions. I did like a lot of different hairstyles with them. I loved these hair extensions. To be honest, my hair was not long enough to be putting them in my hair. You could see like the tracks. I did not care. I didn't care. I was walking around with the tracks showing in my hair, but it looked good from the front, so that's all that I cared about. And then for around a month or so, I just left my hair black and I let it grow out. And then on July 1st of 2023, I cut my hair into like an Alice Cullen type pixie cut, you know, the super layered pixie cut. That's what I did. I gave myself a pixie cut because when you grow out a buzz cut, it kind of grows out all in one length, and sometimes it can look like you have a bowl cut. And I was looking like I had a helmet or a bowl cut on my head, so I wanted to like add a lot of layers and texture to it. So the Alice Cullen haircut was my resolution. That haircut lasted 15 days, and during these 15 days, I probably had the worst anxiety I've ever had in my whole entire life because my parents were moving to Texas, so out of state from me, and I had never been more than like 2 hours away from them. So I was losing my mind. I was having a lot of anxiety. I ended up like having an anxiety attack that lasted like 3 days. I had to drive home with this anxiety attack, like dry heaving and crying, shaking uncontrollably. It was atrocious. I just had to be with my parents because I was like, there's nothing else that's gonna make me better. Like, I need to be with my parents. So yeah, that happened in the 15 days that I had this Alice Cullen type haircut. Then on July 16th of 2023, I shaved my head again with a beard trimmer. And I didn't know what guard the beard trimmer had on it, and my boyfriend didn't know either. And at the time, I didn't know it was a beard trimmer. I thought it was a regular clipper, but no. And he just gave it to me. My boyfriend just gave it to me, and he's like, this is all I got. This is the only guard I got. It had no number. I'm thinking it was like in between a 2 and a 4 guard. I shaved my head. I didn't like it, but I rolled with it. And then 12 days after shaving my head, I dyed my hair bright red. And it was whatever. It was like this color red, maybe a teensy bit more orange toned. It was very bright red. Seeing pictures now, I don't like it at all, but I liked it at the time, I guess. I kept the hair red for almost a month, a little less than a month. I just let it fade like naturally. It kind of faded into this like weird pink color. So on August 14th of 2023, I went over it with a pink toned dye, but the dye wasn't like a bright, vibrant enough dye to cover the red tones. So it kind of just ended up looking like faded maroon or something. It was a weird color. At this point, my anxiety was so bad that I like literally could care less what I looked like. I was just kind of like dyeing my hair to like feel something other than anxiety. It was horrendous. It was a very dark time in my life. And then after having that for like 14, 15 days, you know, I decided to fully commit to like super bright pink. So on August 30th of 2023, I dyed my hair super hot pink. And I liked this pink shade. This pink was really nice, and it faded pretty nice too. So nice that I left it for around 2 months. Didn't do anything to my hair. Then on October 20th of 2023, I dyed my hair black again, but I didn't use my trusty old box dye. I used Arctic Fox's Transylvania, I think, and that is not a black hair dye. It is like a weird dusty purple blue color. It's black for like maybe a day, and then it turns into a really ugly purple blue color, and I hated it. I left it for 14 days. 14, 15 days. Then on November 4th of 2023, I dyed it black with my holy grail black box dye, and it looked perfect. November 18th of 2023 marks my next hair change. I didn't really do much to it. I just kind of like shaped my grown out buzz cut, and I gave myself very, very tiny micro bangs. I think this was the first time I had micro bangs, at least intentional micro bangs. Obviously, if you grow out a buzz cut, you're gonna have like bangs, but I like intentionally cut these into micro bangs. Then a few days later, while I was actually visiting my parents in Texas, I decided to bleach my hair and dye it orange. I don't know why I did this. I really don't. But it looked cute. I have no complaints. It looked really cute. I also ended up cutting it shorter as well, and I cut my bangs short. All throughout the month of December, I kept the orange hair. It kind of faded into like this mustardy yellow color, and I maintained the very tiny micro bangs, so I was kind of just like trimming my hair here and there and just leaving it alone until December 30th of 2023. I dyed my hair 3 different colors. I did red, orange, and purple. And this kind of marked the beginning of my super like drastic hair changes, or my more complicated hair changes. Before this, I did like 1 or 2 hair colors. This took me like such a long time, and I was so proud of it. Unfortunately, the red faded really weird and like hideously, and I could not find a red that wouldn't fade. Like the rest of my hair wasn't fading, so it only lasted for around a month. So on January 28th of 2023, I tried to do black and teal, so I bleached the back of my hair and just dyed over the front with black, but the teal wouldn't hold onto the blonde in all the places for some reason, so I ended up just doing like an electric blue over the teal. And throughout the month of February, I just kept it and I just let it fade. And I also started to like shape my hair into like more of a scene cut, I guess. I did like very heavy side swept bangs. And then on March 8th of 2024, I dyed my hair pink and turquoise, and I fully committed to the scene haircut. Like I intentionally cut my hair into a scene haircut or emo haircut, whatever you want to call it. I think I did pink in the back and then turquoise in the front. I don't remember, you'll see pictures, but that's what I did next. And this is one of my most favorite hair colors I've ever done. I loved it so much, and I wish it lasted longer, but it faded weird. So on March 17th of 2024, I dyed over the pink with red, and then I dyed over the turquoise with a darker turquoise. I was kind of giving Spider-Man, and my hair was getting like really, really voluminous in this area, and I wasn't very fond of that. So I had the Spider-Man looking hair, super voluminous vibes until March 26th of 2024. And that's when I decided to do something I had wanted to do for like a year at this point. So I gave myself my first Chelsea cut, and I also bleached my hair at the same time. I couldn't get the pink out of my bangs, so I had blonde hair with like ombre bubblegum pink bangs. It was a look though, like it was super unintentional, but it looked so cute. I will say it's probably the worst Chelsea cut I've given myself because the back was so like untexturized. It was just super blunt, so it kind of looked wonky. But for my first time, it was a pretty decent looking haircut. I didn't leave it like that for long though. I can't remember why, but I didn't. And on April 4th of 2024, I tried to do neon yellow and purple. So I dyed my hair neon yellow and I tried doing purple ombre bangs, not realizing that I literally just looked like I was repping the Lakers colors. So the same night that I did the neon yellow and purple, I color removed the purple from my bangs and it turned like this weird mint green color, and I liked how it looked. So I kept the neon yellow with mint for quite a while, until April 21st. Not that long. Longer than I expected to, you know? So on April 21st of 2024, I reshaved my Chelsea cut and I went a little shorter in the back, and I re-dyed all of my hair neon yellow, neon green. I can't really remember. It was kind of like a tennis ball color. I just dyed over everything with that color. And then 9 days later, I decided I was tired of the tennis ball color, so I dyed my hair neon teal and I trimmed my bangs really short. I don't think I appreciated this hair enough. I remember at the time I hated it so much, but it looked really, really cool, I think. Like now, I think I would do it again. It looked really cool with like a sleek black liner and no eyebrows and like a purple toned lip. It looked really nice. I didn't like it though at all, and it only lasted like 8 or 9 days. So on May 8th of 2024, I decided I wanted platinum blonde hair, even though I literally just had pretty dang blonde hair. I wanted even lighter blonde hair. I wanted basically white hair, and I achieved that. And this is the only time I've been able to get my hair this light, not counting the time I just bleached my hair before dyeing it purple. The last time I bleached my hair, I got my hair pretty white. But this like time, my first time trying to go platinum, I got it basically white, which is pretty impressive for not having like that much experience, you know, being like a DIY hairstylist. It was basically white, and I toned it, and the toner turned it like a very, very light lavender, but you know, toner washes out over time, so it was pretty dang white for a while, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I left it for like 3 months. Didn't really do much to my hair. I was letting my bangs grow out, my Chelsea cut grow out, and around this time is when I started my YouTube channel. So I think July 10th of 2024 is when I posted my first YouTube video, and I had this platinum blonde grown out Chelsea cut at that time. And then on July 28th of 2024, I dyed my hair orange and green. For whatever reason, I looked like a carrot. I have a video on my channel of me doing that. I destroyed my hair. Like, I don't know why I did that. Like, why would I pick that color combination? I don't know. I didn't like it though. So on August 11th of 2024, I reshaved my Chelsea cut and I re-bleached my hair. Tried to go platinum again. Didn't get as white as the first time. It was more yellow toned, but I put toner over anyways, and I just left it, and I was like, whatever, it's not orange and green, so that's fine. And then I left it alone for like a month or so, and on September 7th of 2024, I dyed my hair red. Once again, like this shade of red. And I think red hair looks better on me when my hair's longer. I don't like red hair on me when my hair's shorter. Like right now, I think red hair would look like decent, but I would want it ideally to be a little longer if I was gonna dye it red. Fully red, that is, you know? I think like red streaks would look fine, but not full red. And then I kept the red for like a month or two. On October 4th of 2024, I ended up giving myself micro side swept bangs, because at this point my hair had been growing out a little bit. I didn't like the big chunky bang in my face anymore, so I did very, very tiny side swept bangs. And then on October 19th of 2024, I bleached the front section of my hair and left the rest of it red, because I was inspired by this picture of Hayley Williams that I saw. I also did a YouTube video on this, I think, and I liked this a lot. It didn't last very long because the red kept bleeding into the blonde, which is expected. I feel like I would have had to use like a permanent red hair dye if I didn't want it to bleed, or like only put cold water in my hair, which I just can't do. I just can't. Then on November 3rd of 2024, so like 10 days later, 13 days later, something like that, I dyed over everything with orange. And it turned a really pretty color. It was like a copper color, and since I had red in the back, it was like two-toned, so it was like pretty vibrant orange up here, but then like darker orange in the back, and it looked fine. It wasn't my favorite thing ever, but it was orange. I feel like I've dyed my hair orange so many times. Oh my god. That lasted for 10 days. And then on November 13th of 2024, I reshaved my Chelsea cut and I dyed my hair black again. I think this time I shaved my Chelsea cut with like a 4 guard instead of a 6. I think I'd been using a 6 up to this point. I let my bangs grow out and my lengths grow out, and then on November 26th of 2024 I decided that I didn't want to let my bangs grow out anymore, and I cut them way too short. I have a YouTube video showing me cutting my bangs. I think it was like one of the first week-long vlogs I posted. I was just in my grandma's bathroom trimming my bangs, going crazy, and I remember saying like, oh my god, this looks so bad, but there wasn't anything I could do because I had already cut them. So I kind of hated my hair for like a week or two, but it's fine. Then I left my hair alone for a month. Then on December 27th of 2024, I shaved the back of my head. I got rid of the lengths because it was super dead from bleaching it 400,000 times. Shaved all of it, re-dyed it black, and then did strips of pink in my bangs. I also have a YouTube video on this. I probably have a YouTube video on every single hair change I'm going to talk about from here on out. Like major hair change, maybe not trim, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I had the black and pink bangs. I loved this hairstyle. It reminded me so much of like 2007, 2008, like emo fashion. And you know, that's literally how I try to look every day. I love that. To this day, one of my best looks ever. I will probably do it again sometime in the future. It lasted like a month or so, and then on January 24th of 2025, I went and did full-on rainbow bangs based on this picture that I saw on Pinterest. I was determined to get my hair to look like that, and I succeeded. And I wish this didn't fade as fast as it did and as ugly as it did, because I honestly probably would have kept this for like months, but it faded after like one wash. And I'm not even joking, it literally faded in one wash and there was like no saving it. I would have had to just like re-dye it after every wash, and I'm not about to do that. So I had the rainbow bangs for 6 whole days. And then on January 30th, I dyed my hair black once again, everything black, and I also trimmed my bangs again. And I kind of dyed it black with the thought of like growing it out and not doing anything else to it for a while, but that thought lasted like a week. And then on February 18th of 2025, I gave myself a mohawk, which to this day is probably the coolest hairstyle I will ever have. This mohawk looked so cool, and it could be styled so many different ways. I could do it with bangs, no bangs, side swept bangs. I could like flatten it out and part it down the middle. It looked so cool. I just probably wouldn't do it again because it looked really stupid when it wasn't styled. And you know, who's trying to put up a gosh darn mohawk every single day? It took like 30 minutes for me. Maybe if I became like skilled and like accustomed to it, I could be able to do it fast, but it was taking me a really long time to style. But when I did style it, it looked so cool. And I gave myself a mohawk kind of as like the last hurrah before I decided to shave my head completely again. That was like my plan. I was planning on like going completely bald, and I was just like, whatever, I'll do one last cool hairstyle. Cause in my mind, if I messed it up and it like didn't go as planned, I would just like shave my head sooner than I planned, if that makes sense. I don't know. I never ended up shaving my head though. I kind of just like let the mohawk do its thing. I think I reshaved my sides like one more time, and then on March 18th of 2025, I dyed my mohawk neon orange. This was cool, it was whatever. I kind of liked how it looked after it faded rather than how it looked when I first dyed it, because it was just like, I don't know, it wasn't my cup of tea. I think I have a video on that as well. And then from then on, I just let the mohawk grow and I let my hair fade. And on April 14th of 2025, I dyed over everything with neon yellow. And obviously neon yellow is not darker than neon orange. So it kind of just like, I don't know. It was a very odd shade. You'll see pictures. It was like 3 different shades of yellow and orange. It looked whatever. I didn't like it though. So on April 23rd of 2025, I dyed my hair black again, and then I trimmed my bangs. And I left my hair alone for like a month, and then on May 20th of 2025, I bleached all of my hair yet again, and I did dip dyed bangs and sideburns, and I did those in black, and I have a video on that, and that is like my most viral hair transformation I've ever done, I think. My rainbow bangs were pretty viral, as well as my pink and black bangs, but this hair transformation got like a lot of reposts from hairstylists on Instagram. I got reposts onto hair pages. People were like posting me on Pinterest, as well as my mohawk. I forgot to mention that my mohawk went pretty viral as well. So there's that. I liked it for like the first 3 days I had it, and then I got tired of it because the black I used in my bangs and my sideburns was once again not black box dye, because I didn't want to use a permanent hair color on such an odd placement, you know? So I used Arctic Fox's Transylvania, and it was fading hideously as it always does, and for some reason I just thought I was going to be able to handle it, and I couldn't. It bothered me so much. And on June 2nd of 2025, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I gave myself a skullet, and I shaved all my bangs off and my sideburns off, and I kept it long in the back. And I've always wanted a skullet, but preferably I would want my hair to be like long in the back. My hair was like not much longer than this when I had a skullet, so it kind of didn't even look like a skullet. It kind of looked like I just botched my buzz cut and forgot to shave the back of my head. But it is what it is. I rocked it. I still looked cool. You guys, were almost reaching the end of my hair transformation. We're pretty close. I left it alone for like 20 days or so, and then on June 23rd of 2025, I dyed my hair tennis ball yellow green once again, and then I did the longer part in the back like a true green color, like the color of my earrings almost. And I kept this for a while. I really liked it. I really liked how vibrant it was, and I liked matching my eyebrows to my hair. It was super fun, and it didn't fade very fast. Like, I could have kept it for probably 2 months and it still would have been pretty vibrant, but you know me, I can't go very long without changing my hair again. So that brings us to my final hair transformation. So from June 23rd until August 8th, I had the neon yellow green hair and I was growing out a skullet. And then on August 8th, just last month, I shaved the length off the back of my hair, and I kind of shaved it all the way up to here, kind of like to the crown of my head, I guess. I texturized the rest of my hair, kind of texturized my bangs, and I dyed everything this beautiful purple color. And that's how we got here. It's quite the process. I've been filming for like an hour and a half, non-stop talking. My throat hurts. It's burning, but that's how we got here. And that is my final hair transformation. Not for long though. I plan on changing my hair in like literally a week. There'll be a video on that, don't you worry. But yeah, I've liked the purple so far. I like it way more than I thought I would. I was kind of like hesitant to do purple, but when I decided I was gonna dye my hair again, I wanted to do a color I had never done on my entire head before, which I think is only purple. I've done every single color of the rainbow. Yeah, every single hair color of the rainbow. I know I just said I'm gonna change it, but that's not because I don't like it. It's just because I get bored really easily. And whenever I see something on Pinterest that I want to do to my hair, I have like no self-control and I can't really hold myself back. And if it's something that I think I can achieve myself, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna do it. But it won't be gone forever. I will probably do this again because I really do like it, and it lasts forever. It does fade oddly, but it doesn't fade like a lot. The one thing I don't like about it is that it fades near the roots and it looks like gray lavender, and it kind of makes your roots look like you have like a lot of dry shampoo on them. I don't like that, but it's whatever. Anyways, that was my hair evolution. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming. Like I said, 2021 marked the chaos of hair changes. There was so much, and I did not realize how little time I let pass between each hair color. Like, I'm really surprised I have hair on my head, and now I understand the comments that I get when they're like, literally, how are you not bald? Because like, how am I not bald? But I kind of explained it earlier. I think it literally just has to do with the fact that I shave my head so much, and my hair is so short that like the oils like distribute better and it like strengthens my hair. I don't know, I'm not a gosh darn scientist. But yeah, I just realized I've probably been looking in the viewfinder the whole time, and I apologize. I'll try to look at you guys for the outro. That's all I gotta say though. I've been talking for so long, so I think I'm just gonna go now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that maybe I provided you guys with some inspiration, some haircut inspiration, some hair color inspiration, inspo in general to even do anything to your hair. Hair is hair, it'll grow back, and I don't think you should take it too super seriously. Like, do what you want to your hair. I think we should all customize our characters however we want and however often we want, whatever makes us happy, you know? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to get notified whenever I upload. I don't have a schedule. I've been trying for like a month now to get on schedule, but it just doesn't seem to be working at the moment. But hit that bell so you can be the first to comment and like my videos, because that's the vibe. I hope you guys have a good day, night, morning, whatever time it is where you live. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!